Mineplex was once a prosperous hub-based minigame server featuring dozens of unique game modes as well as many popular minigames. It was so popular that it broke the record for the most players on at once during 2015. The server was the most played Minecraft server from 2014 to late 2015, eventually overtaken by Hypixel. But starting in 2017, the server saw a rapid decline unlike anything before. So what happened? How did Mineplex go from this to this? Well, to explain that, I should give you a quick history of Mineplex. Mineplex was publicly released on May 24th, 2013, featuring their Castle Siege minigame, which was where one team of about 30 players would try to siege another team's castle and press a button within it. After about 20 seconds, if the other team did not return to their castle and press the button, they would lose. They also were popular for another minigame called Bridges, where 4 teams had 10 minutes to gather resources before bridges connecting their islands would form, and the last team standing wins. However, it wasn't until July 6, 2013 that Mineplex merged with another server at the time called BetterMC, home of the original Dominate game mode, which is now known as Champions on Mineplex. In Dominate, teams of around 5 would select from 5 unique classes with abilities and items, attempting to control points on a map. With this merge, new developers came on board, helping develop new game modes. The server gradually grew, getting more new minigames and publicity. It especially spiked in popularity when popular YouTuber Captain Sparkles made a video on it. So now you know the history, and we can begin to talk about Mineplex's tragic decline in players. It began approximately in late 2016. While it isn't exactly known why players began to leave, there is no concrete evidence. There are many theories which tend to make sense. Firstly, the anti-cheat. Mineplex has always been ridiculed for having a bad anti-cheat, which lets players get away with blatant cheating. In 2016, they only had a very basic anti-cheat called Mineplex Anti-Cheat, or MAC for short. When MAC detected a player behaving in ways a normal player wouldn't, it would log their actions, only sometimes banning them. However, many players found ways around this, such as joining a game as a spectator first, which for some reason allowed your cheats to pass through the system. This meant that when you ended up playing, your cheats would work. The server later updated to a better anti-cheat called Gwen, which was able to detect more cheats, and instead of just logging a player's actions, it would instantly ban them. However, this did not prove sufficient enough, as players were still finding ways to bypass it, as well as hacked clients adding in dedicated bypass settings. While Gwen was updated, and it's still Mineplex's form of anti-cheat today, it currently has no dedicated developer, meaning that if hacked clients do find ways to bypass it, it may be some time before something is done to prevent it. Players have often complained about being false banned or kicked by Gwen, but take that with a grain of salt because we all know about the excuses cheaters make when they get banned. Many Mineplex game modes have been removed over the years. Even their original Castle Siege minigame is no longer playable. This definitely caused a decrease in players, who would one day log on to find their favourite minigame no longer available, and may have just quit. So why did Mineplex remove game modes? Well, it wasn't due to their game mode's popularity, but rather it was that Mineplex's development team split off into 2 groups, where one would continue to work on Mineplex on the Java edition of the game, and the other team would work on Mineplex's Bedrock edition server. The team could no longer maintain such minigames, and it led them to being removed. This upset lots of players who flocked to the forums to complain, or just quit the server. Mineplex has also been criticized for making bad decisions on their game development, as well as taking too long to fix bugs and other issues with their minigames. Players have often complained on the forums that bugs take too long to be fixed and staff are not listening to players. This theory, however, is highly subjective, as the vocal players which have complained tend to be the minority, whereas the players who haven't had any problems tend to be the silent majority. But nevertheless, I decided it would be worth it just to mention. Finally, one of the largest complaints with the servers these days is the immense lag. While it hasn't been proven, and no dev or higher up has ever confirmed that the server is laggy, players find it unbearable to the point where it is unplayable. Now, you could make the argument that all big servers are laggy, but when compared with other large servers such as Hypixel, the lag is much more noticeable on Mineplex. But has the lag actually gotten worse over time, or is it still the same as it was all those years ago when Mineplex was still popular? I decided to conduct a small test. Back in 2014, when Mineplex was at its peak, I made a few videos on the server. I'm going to compare how laggy it looked then and now. A few things to note is that in 2014 I was playing on a very mediocre laptop with a terrible internet connection and I was playing on Wi-Fi. These days I have a much better PC, much better internet, and I'm also playing off Ethernet. On paper, this should mean that when comparing my gameplay now and then, the lag should be much less evident, or at least the same as it was in 2014. But let's take a look. It looked as if the lag was very similar back then to as it is now, as we see many of the same issues such as delayed damage and general lagging player entities. However, this is in no way proper evidence, as there are many other variables which can contribute to lag. So Mineplex has suffered a lot over the past few years, and these days it only averages about 1,000 to 3,000 plays on at any given time. It's a shame to see such a well-known server, which I have so many memories of, fall to pieces, especially due to having one-of-a-kind game modes such as Dominate that are only available to play on Mineplex. Feel free to share your own thoughts and theories as to why Mineplex has lost so many players, as well as tell me about any experience of your own you've had on the server. Thank you so much for watching, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in another video.